In a village cradled by ancient, mist-veiled mountains, a silver-haired woodcarver watched his son with sorrow etched deep in his weathered face. The boy's words flowed like a flooding river, torrential, uncontrolled, eroding relationships with every reckless syllable. One crisp autumn morning, as golden leaves spiraled onto dew-kissed grass, the father placed 3 sacred objects on their oak table: a leather-bound journal hand-stitched with deer sinew, a raven's quill sharpened to a needlepoint, and a single honey-drizzled oatcake on a birchwood plate.
For 4 dawns you'll fast from bread and salt, but your true hunger lies deeper. Every word you cast into the world, whether whisper or shout, must be captured here. When the owl calls midnight, you'll read them aloud until the final syllable echoes in this room. Only then may you break your fast.
The son's eyes flashed defiance. Words were his weapons, his armor. That first day he stormed through the village like a conquering king. He mocked the blacksmith's scorched apron, spun tales of wrestling bears to impress rosy-cheeked milkmaids, and snarled at beggars clutching hollowed gourds. His quill danced across pages, staining parchment with venom and vanity.
Old Man Hemlock's beard stinks of mildew. Martha's loom screeches like a dying cat. I'd sooner kiss a pig than wed the baker's lumpy daughter.
By twilight, 47 pages bulged with ink. As stars pierced the indigo sky, his voice began its pilgrimage through the journal's shadowed valleys. He read of taunting the miller's stutter, of lies told to cheat the candlemaker at dice. Midnight came and went. His throat became a desert. His stomach howled. Still he read, of boasting he could outrun arrows, of mocking a widow's crooked spine. When dawn's first blush painted the eastern peaks, he rasped the final insult. Trembling fingers reached for the oatcake, but his eyelids were stones, dragging him into exhausted slumber. Day 2. The boy woke shivering beneath a thin wool blanket. Resolve crystallized in his frosty breath. Today, silence. Yet within an hour, words slithered out like adders. He criticized his mother's embroidery. That rose looks like a bloody fist. Exaggerated a trout's size to fishermen. Long as my arm, I swear. And snapped at a child chasing a grasshopper, clumsy oaf. That night, his reading was punctuated by groans.
This quill scratches like thorns. My head throbs. Who does father think he is to cage my tongue?
Moonlight bled through the window as his voice frayed. Between pages, he clutched his hollow belly, imagining roasted pheasant, buttered parsnips, his mother's blackberry tarts. The journal chronicled every petty slight, a sneer at the cooper's dented bucket, a rumor about the furrier's unfaithful wife. When cocks crowed, he stumbled toward the oatcake, only to retch bile into the hearth. 3 days without sustenance had become an iron yoke. Day 3. Terror seized him at dawn. His reflection in the rain barrel was a stranger's. Sunken eyes, cracked lips bleeding salt, cheekbones jutting like tombstones. He crept through the village like a whipped dog, biting his tongue until copper filled his mouth. Yet necessity pried words loose.
Water, for pity's sake, where's the farrier? My mare's thrown a shoe. Help me lift this cursed log.
Each phrase felt like swallowing glass. That night, his reading was a death march. He recounted clipped exchanges with the dyer, indigo, 3 yards. Hissed warnings to his father, don't touch me, a guttural curse at a stubborn goat blocking his path. As his voice scraped the last word, dawn ignited the mountaintops. He collapsed. The oatcake, now stale, blurred before his eyes. Day 4. The sun opened the journal. Blank parchment gleamed like fresh snow. He wandered into the whispering forest, journal clutched to his chest. A jay shrieked, his jaw clamped shut. A gossip-monger offered scandal about the mayor. He turned away. When a friend jeered, "Cat got your tongue, prince of prattlers?" Rage surged, then died unborn. For hours, he sat by a glacial stream, watching. A spider mend her dew-torn web with infinite patience. A stag drink, his breath misting the water like a ghost. Maple seeds spiral earthward, each descent a silent waltz. He felt the forest's pulse in his veins, the sigh of moss, the creak of ancient pines, the drumming of a woodpecker in the distance. No words, only presence. At twilight, he returned. Firelight danced on copper pots. A feast awaited. Venison stew swimming with wild onions, rye bread steaming beside herb butter, honeycomb dripping gold onto blue porcelain. His father's eyes held galaxies.
Read today's words.
The pages hold only shadows. I spoke nothing.
Then feast, and know, those who master silence in this fractured world will inherit the unspoken glories of eternity. Today you've tasted heaven's own manna.
The sun wept as he ate. The venison's richness, the bread's earthy crust, the honey's floral sweetness all paled against the profound nourishment flooding his spirit. The velvet weight of restrained anger, the honeyed calm of thoughts unspoken, the crystalline freedom of a soul unchained from its own noise. In sacred stillness, he discovered true abundance. Welcome, wisdom seekers. Today on DecodeTales, we plunge into the marrow of the Feast of Silence, a fable that's less about shushing and more about soul alchemy. Forget quick fixes. This is a deep dive into why your words might be starving your spirit. Ready to decode? Let's begin. 1. The archaeology of noise. Why we're drowning in words. Our world is a cacophony. Social media scrolls scream for attention. Podcasts babble in our earbuds. Meetings metastasize into verbal quicksand. But this tale exposes noise as a spiritual famine. Consider. The Sun's first-day journal isn't just gossip, it's weaponized sound. Every insult is a poisoned dart. Every boast is a barricade against vulnerability. Modern parallel? Your Twitter rants, your group chat groans. We've normalized verbal littering. Crucial insight. Noise isn't neutral, it's caloric. Frivolous words burn mental energy that could nourish insight. 2. The physiology of silence, your brain's secret banquet. Silence isn't empty, it's nutrient-dense. Neuroscience reveals. Study, Duke University. 2 hours of daily silence triggers BDNF production, brain fertilizer growing new neurons in memory centers. MRI scans. Noise floods the amygdala, fear HQ. Silence activates the default mode network, where creativity, empathy, and self-awareness simmer. The Sun's forest epiphany? His brain finally entered alpha wave state, the neural garden where intuition blooms. Actionable challenge. Try a silent hour tomorrow. No speech, no screens, no sound. Just breathe, observe. Feel the mental clutter settle like silt in a still pond. 3. The Father's masterstroke. Wisdom as experiential surgery. The woodcarver's genius? He operates, doesn't lecture. His tools. The journal, a mirror forcing the sun to confront his verbal grotesquerie. The fast. Surgical removal of distractions, exposing the wound beneath. The feast, not a reward but a revelation. Silence is sustenance. Modern application. Next time you're tempted to lecture a teen or colleague, create an experience. Hand them a journal. Ask, could you survive reading your last 24 hours of speech aloud? 4. The 4-day metamorphosis, a map for modern seekers. The Sun's journey is an archetypal transformation. Day 1, the unconscious torrent. We're all here, drowning in reactive noise. Day 2, the flailing resistor. White-knuckled willpower fails. Why? You can't hate yourself into change. Day 3, the necessary whisper. Survival forces minimalism. This is where most mindfulness apps stop, but the tale pushes deeper. Day 4, the sacred void. Here, magic blooms. Not forced silence, but wordless communion. The sun doesn't just stop talking, he starts communing with spiders and stags. Threshold insight. Day 4 isn't deprivation. It's wordless wealth, the realm where poets and mystics harvest truth. 5. Cultural echoes. Silence as universal wisdom. This tale resonates across traditions. Buddhist right speech. Is it true, kind, necessary? Quaker wisdom. Expectant silence invites divine guidance. Nietzsche's warning. Words dilute thought into currency. Native American proverb. Listen to the whispers of the wind. They carry further than shouts. DecodeTales lens. The feast scene mirrors Christian Eucharist, but with silence as the sacramental bread. 6. Digital age relevance. Your tongue in the algorithm age. Why this story now? Because algorithms monetize your noise. Social media equals the sun's journal. Your tweets, posts are permanent records. Could you read yours aloud without shame? The attention economy. Every notification is a crumb luring you into verbal gluttony. Solution? Digital oatcake fasts. Try 1 screen-free meal daily. Voice memo journaling. Hear your tonal venom. Texting pauses. Wait 9 minutes before hitting send. 7. The eternal feast. Silence as cosmic sustenance. The Father's final revelation, those who master silence inherit eternity, isn't heaven peddling. It's neuroscience meets metaphysics. Eternity equals expanded. Now, in deep silence, time dilates. You touch the timeless. Modern saints, monks, deep-sea divers, wilderness soloists all report this eternal now during prolonged silence. Your invitation. Start with micro-silences. Before speaking, ask, will this nourish or only fracture? So, DecodeTales tribe, who's ready to feast? Like, if you'll attempt a silent hour this week, subscribe for weekly wisdom to navigate our noisy world. Comment your greatest verbal vice. Gossip, sarcasm, unsolicited advice. Share this with a chronic overtalker, tactfully. Final decode. Silence isn't absence. It's the womb where meaning gestates. Speak sparingly, feast infinitely. Until next tale, stay wisely quiet.